Hi everyone, this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bouquet necklace. It matches the bouquet bracelet that we made in our last tutorial, and together they look really nice. It's basically the same stitch. I've made a few little changes, and of course our embellishment is completely different because we're not going to cross over the top like we did with the bracelet. So I'm not going to refer you back to the bracelet tutorial to learn the stitch. I'm going to do the entire thing in this tutorial. And like I said, it is a right angle weave that's embellished. It is basically the same first steps in the bracelet with a few little changes. So let's go through what we'll need for this project. So let's go through the beads that will be needed for this project. You will need 136 millimeter Firepolish beads. Now I'm giving you approximations. I'm giving you the amount for an 18-inch necklace. If you want to make a longer necklace, of course, you'll have to increase all of your bead numbers. But for an 18-inch like I'm making today, you will need 136 millimeter Firepolish beads, and I am using a dark sapphire. And then you will need a twin bead, and you'll need approximately 126 twin beads. This is not a super duo, it's a twin. Super duos will probably work, but I am using a twin. I haven't tried super duos in this design. I don't know why it wouldn't work, but I'm using twins. So this is a clear with a silver lining, and you'll need approximately, like I said, 126. Then you'll need an 11-0 seed bead. I'm using a Toho clear silver lined 11-0. Then you will need approximately 53 8 millimeter flower button style beads. So on your button bead, I'll show you. It's a solid flower on top. It doesn't have a hole on top. It has a hole through the bottom, right? If I can get my big old fingers out of the way, right there, you can see the hole. This is the style that you want. The others, the bells with the hole down the center, might be a little bit more difficult in this design because you'll have to slide a seed bead down them and then come back up through them. I don't know how well they'll work in this. Also, on the very bottom fringe part of the necklace, I just don't see that the bell are going to work, so you really need a button style bead for this. And then you will need a 4 millimeter bicone. I am using a clear Swarovski crystal, and you'll need approximately 110 of them. And you'll need a 6-0 seed bead. You don't need very many, about 34, 35, maybe 40 6-0 seed beads. I'm using a Toho, and it's a Ceylon Pearl Toho 6-0. Then you will need a magnetic clasp or a clasp of your choosing. I'm using a magnetic. Make sure if you use a small magnetic clasp like this that it's a really strong one, because this is kind of a heavy necklace and you don't want it to pull your clasp open and have your necklace fall off. Then you will need 8-pound Fireline. I don't really recommend a lighter weight for this particular design because it needs a good sturdiness to it. So I recommend an 8-pound Fireline. And you will need a beading needle. I'm using a size 10 English beading needle. Now let's get started with the first step of this necklace. This is what you will have on your needle. Oops, I dropped a twin. So actually, this is what you will have on your needle. You will have 4 Firepolish beads and 4 twin beads, starting with the Firepolish, ending with the twin. Bring it down to the end of your thread. You'll want to have about 2 wingspans of thread on your needle. I don't have that much right now, just so I don't have to pull through a bunch of thread while I'm showing you the step. After you get it down, you don't have to leave a long tail on this. We probably won't be using it. You could, I guess, use it to attach a clasp, but I'm not going to. So I'm not going to leave a long tail. It tends to just get in the way. Just tie your beads into a knot, into a circle, and then sew back all the way around the entire unit you've just created until you come back up to the twin where the knot is. Okay. Now, this is what you should have. Now, we're in the bottom hole of the twin bead. I'm going to call this the bottom of the piece of work, and this is going to be the top. So we are going to pick up, at this point, 2 11-ohs, a flower bead, and 2 11-ohs. And then we're coming out of this side of the twin. We want to go over to this twin on the opposite side and come in on the opposite side that we're coming out of here. So we're going to make like a little diagonal here. Coming out of this side, we're going to go into this side in the bottom hole. Just like that. And pull. And now we're going to pick up our work and we're going to sew all the way back through again. We're coming out of the twin right here. We're going to sew through all the fire polish and all the twin beads again in the same holes that we've been working in. And secure that little embellishment we just put on top. It'll want to move around till you get through a couple of beads. You just have to pull it tight so that you can keep it secure. And just go around the entire unit. Until you are back at the bead opposite of the knot. The twin where the knot is, you want to be in the opposite one. After you have secured your entire unit and you're coming out of the bottom hole of the twin on the opposite side of where the knot is, then you're going to come up into the top hole of the twin. And you're going to pick up on your needle 4 fire polish beads and 3 twin beads, starting with a fire polish bead and ending with a fire polish bead. So this is how they should look, because we are going to use this fire polish bead in our unit. So we're going to drop these down, just like that. Come on. And we're coming out of this side. We're going to go into the opposite side of the top hole, and we're going to pull our new beads tight, just like that. Now, in the tutorial for the bracelet, I showed you how to put the flower on at this point of your unit. I'm going to change that. I'm going to say, go ahead and sew all the way around the unit again until you're coming back out of the same bead that you started from. So go ahead and sew all the way around the entire unit. Helps if you just pick it up and hold it between your fingers, because they like to slide around. This is just a little bit easier, I think, to keep control of it. And since you're going to be doing so many more units than you did in the bracelet, this is a little bit better way to do this. So now we're again coming out of this same twin seed bead or twin bead in the top here. Now we're going to add our flower. We're going to pick up 2 11-ohs and a flower bead and 2 11-ohs. This is what you have. And now you're coming out of this side of the twin. We want to go into the opposite bead on the opposite side. So we will go in here and pull. And now we need to secure this some more, so we're going to sew around the entire unit again, starting with this fire polish bead that we're right next to, and then sew into the fire polish and the twins in the same hole that we've been working in, the bottom holes, all the way around. Until you're back to the same twin bead that you started with. Whoops. And go through the bottom of that twin bead again. Now that you're here, this is what it should look like. Make sure everything is tight as you're doing this. You need to keep really good tension. Now you're going to hop into the top hole of the twin, and we're going to do this one more time. So we're going to pick up 4 Firepolish and 3 twin beads, and it should look like this. Okay, drop them down and go into the other side of the twin, the opposite side that you're coming out of, and pull them into a unit. And then pick up your unit and sew all the way around it, back into the same holes of the twins that you've been working in, all the way around until you come back to the twin you started with. Pull at this point, make sure the tension is really good. And then let's add our flower now. We're back in the same twin that we started our unit from when we started securing. So let's pick up 2 11-ohs, a flower, and 2 11-ohs. Now we're coming out of this side of the twin bead. We're going to go into this side in the bottom hole. So we're going to drop these down and come over into the bottom hole of the twin bead, just like that, and pull it through. Pull tight, and then pick up your work and start sewing. You're coming out here, you want to go directly into the twin you're right next to and start sewing through all the beads again. Until you've reached your top bead where you can add your next unit. My glasses keep slipping off my face and I can't see what I'm doing. I'm sorry if I'm looking kind of strange here, but you can't be blind, that's for sure. Okay, so I've secured the entire unit, and now I will hop up into the top hole and do my next unit exactly as I've been doing my previous units. And you will do this 14 times. You will need 14 units, catch the little flowers on top, and when you have 14, we'll be back. Okay, so I have made my 14 units of right angle weave with the flower on top. And now we are going to start our center portion of the necklace. This is a little bit different than what we've been doing. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so that you can see exactly where I'm coming out of my 14th unit. I am coming out of the twin on this side right here. Go into the next Firepolish bead because we're going to build off of this twin over here. We're not going to build off of this twin. This is the one we'd usually start with. So we're going to go into the Firepolish bead right next to it and then into the twin bead next to it, next to the Firepolish bead, and pull your thread through. And then we are going to hop up into the top hole of the twin. And now we are going to pick up 4 6/0 seed beads. I've got some of my 6/0s and 3 twins. So first a 6/0, a twin, a 6/0, a twin, a 6/0, a twin, and a 6/0. So this is what you will have. 4 6/0s and 3 twins. And then we will come back in to the opposite side of our twin bead that we're coming out of. and pull. And now we need to sew all the way around this entire unit just to secure it. And pick it up, you can sew through the bottom side, it's a little bit easier. The necklace is heavy, so it pulls on it. Okay, so now we're coming out of the same bead we started with, the same twin that attaches us to the fire polish beads. Now we need to we need to add another unit of fire polish so that we have a V shape down here. So we need to come out of this seed bead or this twin bead down here. So we're just going to sew back through until we get to the bottom twin bead in our unit. And this is where we are. Now we're going to go into the top hole of our twin. And now we're going to make another fire polish unit. So we are going to pick up four fire polish beads and 3 twin beads, what we have, and then we're going to drop them down, and we're going to sew back through our twin on the opposite side. And we're going to secure this entire unit by sewing all the way around it again. And now that we are back in the twin that we started at, we are going to add our flower bead. So we're going to pick up our 2 11-ohs, and we're going to pick up a flower and 2 11-ohs. Maybe, there we go. And then drop it down, and we're going to come into this bead right here, opposite the one that we're coming out of. And we're coming out of this side here, so we're going to go in this side here and pull. Secure the embellishment, make it tight, and sew back around the unit, starting with the fire polish bead you're right next to, and then just sew through all of them. And when you get all the way to this bead right here, it would be the one just parallel, right across the fire polish bead to the one that you connected your little circle of 6/0 beads. You should be coming out of the bottom. Now you want to hop up to the top of that bead, and you will make another unit just like you did here. So you will pick up 4 of your 6/0 seed beads with a twin in between each one. So 4 6/0s, 3 twins, starting with the 6/0, ending with the 6/0. It's like that. And then you're going to go into the opposite side of the twin you're coming out of and pull. Don't stick it in your bead mat. Just like that. Now secure the entire unit and sew all the way around it to keep it from being all wobbly and loose. and then sew back up until we get to this twin bead right here. This one. And now we are going to attach, or we're going to start to make our next row of 14 all the way around the neck units here. Let me back off so I can explain what I'm talking about. We are going to, oh goodness sakes, there we go. We're going to build our next 14 units. This is going to be weird here and all wobbly and strange, but we will come back through and build onto that and secure it and make it nice. Let me show you how to start adding. It's the same as we've been doing. We're just going to hop up. We're coming out of the bottom hole of this twin here. We're going to hop up into the top hole, and we're going to do the same as we have been doing. We are going to add 4 Firepolish and 3 twins, and then drop them down. Come through the twin, secure your beads by sewing all the way around. After you've secured your entire unit here, we are going to then, instead of working from this bead to this bead, we are going to go over to this twin bead here. And we are then going to add our 2 11-ohs, a flower, 2 11-ohs. So now, instead of working what it would seem to be up and down, we're going to work side to side. Okay, so drop your flower and then come into the opposite twin on the opposite side that you're exiting from. Go through right here. So through your entire unit. So all the way around until you are then coming out of the twin on the opposite side of where you started your embellishment. So now you are coming out so that your flowers in your necklace are laying sideways, just like this. So basically your little 6/0 unit should be underneath. Then you should have one unit that your flower is laying kind of diagonal and your embellishment is diagonal. But these should be horizontal. So when you add your little 6/0, you will go up into this bead, add your flower, and then sew around till you're coming out of this bead on this side. And then you will hop up into the top and start making your 14 units. And it shouldn't be confusing at that point. So go ahead and make your 14 units and we'll be back. Now I have finished my 14 units on the other side here, and I am now coming out of the twin bead on the top here. Let's get closer. Okay, so I'm coming out of the bottom hole on the twin bead on the outside of the bead here. I'm now going to attach my clasp, so I'm going to pick up an 11-oh seed bead and then go through the top of the twin. And then I'm going to pick up another 11-oh seed bead and go through the other side of the twin on the bottom. This will hide my thread as I sew up and down through the twin and put on my clasp. Now I'm going to come back up through this seed bead right here on the other side. And then I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads and then go through my clasp. And then I'm going to pick up 3 more seed beads. And then I'm going to come down through. Let's get down here a little bit. I'm going to come through the 11-0 we added on the opposite side here, and pull my thread through, pull everything tight, and then I'm coming out the bottom of the little seed bead we added. Now I'm going to go down into the bottom hole in the twin, just like that, and pull it through. And that's what that looks like. Now we're just going to sew through this 3-4 times, and we'll be back. I have secured my clasp now, and I'm coming out of the bottom hole of the twin bead on this side. I am now going to sew down into the Firepolish bead, right beneath it, to the twin and the next Firepolish, all the way around this unit until I get to the twin bead on the inside here. Okay, so now that we are in the bottom hole of this seed bead, or of this twin bead, we are coming out this direction. We're now going to just hop into the top hole of this bead, and we're going to start to do our inside embellishment on the necklace. So let me back up and show you what we've got so far. Oops. Okay, so make sure your necklace isn't twisted or anything weird. Make sure that you've got everything facing forward. And we're going to start embellishing down the inside of this column of beads here, of units. So our first embellishment is going to be a bicone crystal, a seed bead, a 6-0, a seed bead, and a bicone crystal, like this. Okay? Then we are going to come from twin bead to twin bead with our embellishment. So just from the top of one twin into the top of the next twin, and pull tight. And we're just going to do this down the entire side of the necklace until we get to right here. So we're going to continue doing this: a bicone, a seed bead, a 6-0, a seed bead, and a bicone. Slide from one twin to the next. And if you come all loose, just pull it tight again. And continue to do that until you get to the middle portion here on the bottom. So I have done my entire embellishment on the inside here all the way to my last unit, my last twin bead. Get myself rearranged a little bit here so that I can show you how to do this middle embellishment. And this one for me is a little confusing because I've only recently designed this necklace and I haven't made a lot of them, and I get a little confused. So I'm going to do this rather slowly, and I hope you understand. It's just that I have to remember exactly what I'm doing. So I'm coming out of this last twin bead right here in the top, and then I'm going to go into this Firepolish bead here in the bottom hole. Let's see if you can see that, just like that. And I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to hop up into the top hole of this twin bead here, just like that. Pick up a seed bead, Firepolish bead, and a seed bead like this, and then go over into this twin bead, down into it from the top hole, and pull. Now you're going to pick up a flower, a fire polish bead, and a flower, like this. Oops, I lost a flower. Ooh, there he is, just like that. And then we are going to go back into the twin on this side, on the top or the most outer hole, and pull. And now we have to go back through our fire polish bead and our little 11-0 on the other side of it, and then back down into the twin. Now we're going to go into the flower, right like this, and pull. Just draw it all together. And then we're just going to go into the fire polish bead and not, and not the other flower on the other side, just the fire polish bead. Then we're going to pick up a seed bead. It's kind of hard to keep tension here. Try to keep tension. We're going to pick up a seed bead and then go into this twin right here in the unit of the 6 O's and pull. And try not to get your thread caught in everything. Tighten it up. Pick up a flower now and then go into this twin, and let me back off just a little so you can see what I'm doing. Get my end frame here. Then we're going to go into this twin that's sticking out of the unit of 6 O's on the other side. So we're going to go up through it, and we're going to pull the flower tight. And then, let's move this flower out of the way. We are going to pick up a seed bead, not a 15-0 and my 11-0 somehow. Pick up an 11-0, and then we are going to go back into the fire polish bead under this flower here, the middle fire polish bead that we started working out of when we started this little small embellishment here. So back through this middle fire polish bead right here, this one, and pull. Bring your flowers up. Make sure everything's tight. Now I'm going to sew back through this 11-0 and twin bead right underneath the flower here, coming out of the fire polish bead. I just got my thread cut. I'm going to go back into the middle flower here. Right there. So I'm coming out of this flower. Now I'm going to go into this 11-0. Or actually, it's the twin bead. And pull through. And everything's kind of difficult to see. I realize that, and I apologize. This is just one of those embellishments that's a little bit harder than some others. Well, not harder, just full of stuff. I can get into this 11-0 right here. Okay. So I've just sewn back around everything. Now I'm going to go back into my center fire polish bead right here. So this one right here. Oh, and we're caught again. And then go through this flower right here. We're just sewing in a circle, just trying to get our thread back out now that we've gone down in the bottom of our embellishment, all the way down to the bottom of our necklace. Now, we're coming out of the twin bead that we started in. We're going to sew through the fire polish bead and the seed bead. And again, let's back off just a little. We are going to go through this seed bead on the other side of the fire polish bead and through the twin on the opposite side. And then we're going to go through the hole, the other hole in this twin that we're inside right now. We're going to go into the lower hole here. Once you come up through this twin, we are then going to be going the wrong direction to climb up into the top of this hole here to start our embellishment. So what we're going to do is we're coming out at the top of this twin bead right here. Let's get close so you can see what I'm talking about. We've just finished our embellishment sewed up through this fire polish bead. We're coming out of this twin here now, and we're going to go underneath the thread bridge right here. And we're just going to do a very small half hitch knot. And now we can sew back around this way. So we're going to sew through our fire polish bead and the twin that it's connected to. Then we're going to sew back up through our fire polish. We're just basically going around this unit. Now we're going to go into the twin in the bottom hole, and then we're going to go up into the top hole. Now we are in position to start our top embellishment again. So we will pick up a Bicone crystal, an 11-0 seed bead, a 6-0, an 11-0, and a Bicone crystal. And we will slide from twin bead to twin bead, top hole to top hole. And we will just continue with our embellishment until we get all the way to the end. When we get over here, in the very last twin bead, we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished my entire embellishment on the inside on the other side. Now it's time to attach my clasp. However, an upsetting little thing has happened. This twin bead up here only has a bottom hole. It doesn't have a top hole. It's a little deformed one, and I should have gone through my twins because sometimes that'll happen. It won't affect too badly because it still kind of sticks out tall. However, you always want to check your twin beads. Sometimes you'll get some that don't have a top hole, that aren't drilled through, or it's broken, or something like that, and it'll be in the middle of your work, and you won't be able to access the other hole. It's not a good thing. And usually I do check them. I didn't this time. And that's what I get. So anyway, we're going to go from the twin bead that we put our last embellishment in, through the fire polish and through the bottom hole of the twin bead in our last unit, or our first unit actually. So now we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side and attach our clasp. We're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go through the top hole, pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go through the bottom hole, and then add 3 11-0s, our clasp, and then 3 11-0s, and sew through and just tighten it up. As soon as you've got this side of the clasp on, we'll be back. Okay, so I have attached my other half of my clasp and secured it. And this is what we have so far. And now we're going to start doing our outside embellishment and work our way down to the middle and do our little swag of flowers. So let's move in to the end here. And you can see that my thread is coming out of the bottom of the twin bead that I from attaching my clasp. So I'm coming out of this side. I am going to sew down through the fire polish bead, and just the fire polish bead. And I'm going to tie a half hitch knot because I'm going the wrong direction again. So I'm just going to go between the bead and the thread, make sure it doesn't get caught anywhere else. Pull a little knot right there. And then I'm going to sew back around up through this fire polish, up through the fire polish bead we just came through, back into the twin that we attached the clasp to in the bottom hole, all the way back around the rest of the unit here. When you get to the twin bead, go through the bottom hole, and then hop into the top hole, and now we are going the right direction so that we can start our outside embellishment. And our outside embellishment is a little different than our inside embellishment. This time we are going to pick up a Bicone crystal, an 11/0 seed bead, and then a fire polish bead, and then an 11/0 seed bead, and then another Bicone. So this is what you'll have on your thread. And then we are going to start going from top twin to top twin hole again. So we're coming out here, right here. We're going to go into the next twin. And we are going to just continue doing this exactly the same way all the way down. Pick up a Bicone, a seed bead, a fire polish, a seed bead, and a Bicone, and slide from one to the next. Continue doing this all the way down until we get to, let's see, the third. Let me get out here. Until we get to this third bead from the center here. So here's our center little 3 flowers. Let's see if I can explain this best. Here's our little center 3 flowers. We're going to count 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. So we are going to go from this one to here, and then we will stop. So do your entire side until you get to the 3rd unit out. And you can go through this unit, but don't put any more embellishments. And we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished my outside embellishment. I am coming out of the twin that is coming out of the 3rd unit from the center. So here's 1, 2, 3. And I am just coming out of the twin bead on this one, right here. So now I'm going to start my center swag with my flowers, my embellishment that goes all the way to the other side. So what we've got is this right here. Let me show you close up. We have got a seed bead, a Bicone, a seed bead, a flower, a seed bead, a flower, a seed bead, a flower, a seed bead, a Bicone, a seed bead. So you're just going to alternate between 3 flowers and 2 Bicones with seed beads, starting with seed beads and ending with seed beads. And then we're going to bring them down and go into the next twin bead in the top hole and pull. Makes a nice little draping effect here. Let's back off just a little. Now we are going to do the same thing from this twin bead to this twin bead coming out of the unit of 6 O's here. And we are going to bring them down and then go into the twin in the 6 O unit in the top hole. And we got them all tangled up here. There we go. We've got 2 little draping things here. Now we're going to do the same thing exactly, pick up the same series of beads, except for on the very last one we're not going to pick up a seed bead. So we're going to pick up a seed bead, a bicone crystal, a seed bead, 3 flowers with seed beads in between them, and then a seed bead and a bicone, but no seed bead after the bicone. And we are going to go into this twin bead sticking out of our little very last unit of Firepolish beads. So we're going to go through here. And now the center one needs to be longer and even danglier, so we're going to do it a little differently. So what you will have for your center unit on your thread will be a bicone, a seed bead, a flower, 3 seed beads, a flower, 3 seed beads, a flower, a seed bead, and a bicone crystal. Then you will drop them down and you will come up through the next little twin bead on your bottommost unit of Firepolish beads here. Now that we are coming out of this twin bead, the farthest one in the last Firepolish bead unit, we will pick up a bicone crystal, a seed bead, and then 3 flowers with seed beads in between each. 1 seed bead in between each, like we were doing on the other side. A bicone crystal, and then a seed bead. So what you will have is a bicone crystal, a seed bead, 3 flowers with seed beads in between, a seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a seed bead. And then you will come up through the little twin in the 6O unit. And then we will repeat again. This time we'll pick up a seed bead first, a bicone crystal, a seed bead, and then our 3 flowers and seed beads in between, then a seed bead and a bicone crystal and a seed bead. So you will have a seed bead, a bicone crystal, 3 flowers, a seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a seed bead. And then we will go up through the next twin. We will need to make 1 more unit. So we will pick up, this is what we'll have, our seed bead bicones, our 3 flowers with seed beads in between, seed bead bicone, and we will go up into the next twin bead. And that concludes our fringing at the bottom. It's kind of a pretty little effect. And then we will start back with our embellishment like we did on this side over here. So again, we will pick up a Bicone crystal, a seed bead, a Firepolish bead, a seed bead, and a Bicone crystal, and slide up into the next twin. And we'll do that embellishment all the way up until you get to the end of your necklace. And then when you get all the way to the end, you will just sew through, tie half-inch knots, and cut your thread off. And we'll be back at that point. Okay, so I have finished the last part of my embellishment, and then I just ran through my beads and tied off, and this is the finished product. Cannot speak. All that beading's made my tongue crazy. Anyway, this is basically what you end up with, and it's really pretty, and it goes really well with the bracelet that we made in the last tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Good luck with it and have fun. Bye-bye.